Hi, I'm Erin. Here on the ranch, calves are the main source of income. But it was very clear to Mike and I early on that we needed to diversify our income sources. Farmers market was a natural fit. This winter, that diversification continues with winter growing. Crops will be planted in the high tunnel with no heat and harvested when there's snow on the ground and the temps don't get above freezing. Let's hope this works on our Wyoming Life. When Mike and I came to the ranch in 2008 and left our office jobs in radio, gardening was never my plan. But in 2010, everything changed. My mom saw a few sentences in our local newspaper stating that the farmers market was moving locations and it was looking to expand. We'd always gardened when I was a kid, and it was something that I felt that I knew how to do. I was also pregnant with our oldest daughter, Mackenzie, and I was looking for a way to help provide some income for our family besides the cows without me having to go to work and leave the ranch and soon leave our newborn daughter at home or at daycare. So, in the summer of 2010, we gardened for our family just like we always did. Whatever crops we had extra of went to farmers market. A few jars of jam were made, and after attending a handful of markets, I was hooked. Mackenzie was born in January, and that spring I became a market farmer. I didn't know what a market farmer was, but that's what I was doing. The big garden was tilled that spring and fenced, giving me an additional 8,400 square feet of space to grow my crops in. So now instead of just growing for our family, we were growing for numerous families. Since the first new garden was tilled, a lot has changed. We've had 2 more children, and we started graining and finishing beef. The high tunnel was built, pigs were purchased and grained, an orchard was planted, and another high tunnel will go up next spring. The mission to provide additional income for our family has never wavered. It just simply evolves and changes depending on our capabilities and the demand from our customers. We are now venturing into new territory in the gardens. Crops will be planted and tended to year-round. There no longer is an off-season for me. Last spring, we dabbled with winter growing and successfully grew lettuce, radishes, and spinach during the months of March and April. Now, though, it's time to get serious about winter growing. More crops will be planted, and by spring, the entire space of the high tunnel will be filled with cold hardy crops. Now, here's the really crazy part of this winter growing plan. We have no heat in the high tunnel, and we're not going to be adding any. The ground never freezes in the high tunnel, and we will use that natural heat along with more row covers and plastic to keep our plants going year-round. It's going to freeze in there. The plants are going to freeze. That's just the reality. But with the right crop selection and by capturing as much heat as possible, this is going to work, we think. Now, before anything is planted for winter, summer crops have to come out. This is the main reason we need an additional high tunnel. One for winter and one for summer. That way we are not having to fight for space, and crop seasons don't have to be cut short when it's time to get the next crop in the ground. Cucumbers were pulled mid-summer as they were not producing very well. It was too hot this year, and I couldn't keep them wet enough. Scallions and 3 rows of carrots replaced the cucumbers. Next, out come the tomatoes. We did cut the tomato season somewhat short. They would have been fine for another few weeks or so, but seeds needed to go on the ground. Plus, with shorter days and cooler temps, the tomatoes weren't growing very much at this point anymore. All the green tomatoes are picked, and they will turn red and be processed into salsa to be sold this winter at farmers market. Mike gets the dirty job of tilling the soil. Everything then gets raked and leveled out. Now, armed with stakes, string, and a tape measure, more planting can happen. All the beds we've measured out, and each will have a different crop in it. The beds where the seeds go will be 30 inches wide, and there's going to be 12 inches left between the beds for the walkways. More carrots get planted to finish out the 30-inch bed. The tomatoes were in the way when the first planting was done. Next, spinach is sprinkled over the bed and then lightly raked into the soil. The radishes are planted the exactly same way. Finally, one more bed of carrots also gets planted. A sprinkler is set in the middle and turned on to get everything wet. It'll be very important in the next few weeks to keep the top layer of soil wet while the seeds are germinating. If the seed coat dries, it dies. Once our days start getting longer, lettuce will be transplanted, as well as broccoli, kale, and pea seeds will be sown. This winter, our farmers market is also expanding into the winter months. For the first time, we will have a once-a-month market starting in November and ending in June. I hope to have fresh, locally grown produce at every market. That is a commitment that I've made to my customers, and I hope that I can deliver. I'm not gonna lie, I am terrified. I probably take all of this way too seriously, but when I say that I'm going to do something for our customers, I feel that I need to deliver. One thing that we will be learning this winter is the timing of everything. Crops are gonna take longer with the shorter days and the cooler temps. From the very beginning of my market farming career, I thought that I knew what I was doing. But every year, I learn so much more. This winter gardening is really just one big experiment. It might fail, but if it does, we will figure out a way to solve the problems, and I'm gonna keep putting seeds in the ground. If it's successful, I'm gonna be really very, very happy that I can grow year-round in a Zone 4 in Wyoming with no heat. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the winter veggie journey. Mike has preg checking the cows coming up, and before you know it, there will be snow on the ground. Actually, it's snowing right now. And soon it'll be back to feeding the cows every day. So thanks for joining us in our Wyoming Life.